our goal today is we're going to view the multiple curriculums. They're going to give us a presentation. I'm going to ask, your job is to look past the shiny and bright and the pretty colors. Because what we end up selecting, our teachers end up selecting, is what we will have for a minimum of 5 years. It could be longer. I've been in the district long enough, and some of you have. We went almost 10 years with a math textbook adoption, and I think we were at 8 maybe for the reading. And they weren't happy with the reading those last few years because our standards change, our assessments. So it's important that when we are going through those rubrics, we're going with a fine-tooth comb, because we know the curriculum that you're going to select here is not the first go-to for a teacher. Your first go-to are the best benchmarks. This will be the resource that's going to help you during instruction and the students to eventually master those benchmarks. So it's a big job. So if you're here today and you didn't realize what a big job it is, take that in now, because today is not your only responsibility as textbook committee member representing your school. You will be offered, because you will not finish evaluating the 3 textbooks today. You will be allotted 6 hours of other comp. I know next week you have field day. Okay, yes. So if you're a little busy, you don't want to hear I need to take a day off. However, the next week is spring break, and I know you're probably going places and that, but by March 17th, Tuesday of spring break, you will need to submit your form to Tasha, and she'll follow up in our email today with the directions on that. On the top 2, so you're going to be voting on the 3 that will be presented today, and then the top 2 is what's going to go to your school. And then that opportunity, by the last week of March, they'll arrive at your school, and your school, the teachers will then be perusing them, going through them. We want them with your help, because you're going to tell them and train them how to look at this. They're going to then vote. Tasha will give the date of that vote. It'll be close to mid-April. And the timeline cannot change. So March 17th is a must final. You have to have it. And why we can't be flexible on the timeline is because, like Tasha started the meeting with, this is a public meeting. The public is part of this process as well. So we have a certain number of days that we have to keep it open to the public for their review and their input. And then we've got to get everyone's input and have it to the school board in May so that we can start purchasing in July for our textbooks to ensure that they're here for the start of school. And I'm going with, and I'm going to put it out into the universe now, they will be here when school starts. They're going to be here when school starts. So that's why that timeline is not flexible. What date must you have your March 17th. March 23rd, mark your calendar. That's the Monday we return from spring break. It is a teacher work day. Because of that, 3:30, there will be an hour Zoom. That 1 hour is part of your 6 hours of other comp. That 1 hour that we'll have is going to be looking as a committee at the votes that you as a committee member put in for top 2. Our hope is it's going to be cut dry. We're going to see who the top 2 are. But if it's close, we're going to discuss that. So your notes that you're taking today, you're taking as you're evaluating on your own time are important to have. And we want to hear that in that Zoom that we will have scheduled. And again, that'll be in the follow-up today that Tasha will send out. I'm sorry, we have Teams call on. And then she'll have the rest of the directions for you. So I feel very confident in the faces that I see and know in here today that we're going to send the best two options to our teachers so that then they can, Ms. Nixon again, the best two options to our teachers to select the best publisher for our students in Okaloosa County. Do you have any questions? Okay. As today goes along, you're going to hear from multiple people, but you're also not going to be sitting all day because you're going to have to get up and leave in between vendors so they can set up, and Tasha will direct you at that time. Ms. McCarthy, did you? Oh, yeah. And
there's this NBC here and here and here.
At the end of the day, the last hour and 15 minutes, Tasha, is that correct?
Yes.
Hour and 15 minutes. The room's going to look a little different because today textbooks are a little different. We will have 3 clear touches set up. We will have devices if you didn't bring your own so that you can explore and navigate the digital side that you and your students would be interacting with as well. And you'll see that is on the rubric as well. So again, welcome, thank you, and look forward to hearing from you and working with you through this process. Any questions you do have that maybe you don't want to ask out loud, we did put some chart paper up. Just take a sticky note from your supply box, put it on there, and if we can answer it today, we will. If we can't, we'll follow up with all of you with that answer. So, thank you.
All right. I'm going to give this one to her when she's done. When I'm done, she's getting it. These are for the presenters.
Okay.
So, all right. Good morning again. I did forget it. I do have some cords over here at break if you need it. We can plug them in to charge devices if you brought your device. In addition to your devices, teacher devices for this afternoon, we also are going to have 3 Chromebooks, and then we'll have some student iPads so you can really see what it would look like on the student side for the digital platform. So adoption schedule, we actually, when they changed the ELA, last year was actually the adoption for ELA. That is why we know the top 3, because they chose to amend that adoption schedule. So instead of having every 5 years, technically it was 4. That is why we did not adopt last year, because we still had a year left on the contract that we had paid for. So a lot of districts are doing what we did in adopting this year to help kind of save some money. We know money is always an issue. Textbooks are not cheap. Publishers are smart. They digital used to be cheaper. Now it's the same price. So ballpark for ELA is about $5 million. So depending on who y'all pick. So and then if you see next year, we'll be doing math. Math is also about $5 million. So we get about 2.5 per year from the state for textbooks, so we have to cover that. We are trying, and we have asked legislators to maybe put a year in between the core classes, the core subjects, just to help the cost a little bit, but nothing has been done, and that would have to be a state law to change that. So, any questions about, like I said, just stop me as we're going. DOE, if you have served after 2022, you have already done this training. Library, Media Center, Instructional Materials Training. It is like 44 slides. The first 31 are just Library Media Center specific. We are only going to do the instructional materials component. However, I will send, if you want to watch the whole training, you're more than welcome to do so. We have to do it every year in the library, but we're only going to do the last part. I did print the transcripts for you, so you have those to do that. So we are going to, unfortunately, you're going to have to listen to them, go through the little training part as required. And then I'm using mine, and so I fast forwarded it to that slide, because we have to actually get a certificate, but y'all do not. And hopefully,
this training is also designed to assist reviewers in complying with the criteria for evaluating and recommending.
do we not have volume on these TVs? Oh, sorry. It is loud. Can I use my mic?
Is it up on your laptop?
Yes. The mic is just for the cameras. I have a Bluetooth speaker in my office as well. Okay. I just checked to make sure it worked. I didn't check volume. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It wasn't increasing.
I can.
Well, we're just glad it's showing.
Instructional materials for adoption as set.
Yeah, it's just coming from the laptop. So. I mean, I can't. Assuming you do not familiar with him, he does all the video recording, so he's in the back with the.
When it works.
It's probably the Mac issue.
And forth in section 1006.31, parent 2. This training will provide a brief overview of the requirements for instructional reviewers. While not identical, there is some overlap between the selection criteria for instructional and library materials. We will start this portion of the training with the areas where there is overlap and discuss the selection criteria specific to instructional materials later in this portion of the training. It's important to note that this training does not replace the requirement for state and school district instructional material reviewers found in
Well, that's not the ball for it. What is your, want to blow your presentation up?
Oh, no, it's muted.
No, see, now it's muted.
Muted.
Yeah.
I think she went to go out and get a Bluetooth speaker. So,
Okay, let me put it back on your laptop, and then we'll see if I can grab a speaker.
okay. I think just went to get one. It's Ross.
Okay.
as reviewers. This training is also
Sorry, man, let me figure it out.
Okay, I can show something else while we're getting that, I just, so. We'll go back to that. I do want to talk about transparency. So that's, big in Florida. Commissioner sent the parents Bill of Rights, the teacher Bill of Rights. That's a thing, making sure we have transparency. So we do on our webpage, we have our instructional library materials page that's always on the front page. And so if somebody asks about the textbook committee or anything like that, they can go to, the school district webpage, and then go on instructional library materials. At the moment, we have our, just for your information as well, sorry. The textbook adoption procedures are on there, and then the ability for a parent to object to textbook materials. So that's a little bit different than library materials. Parents and community members only get a 30-day window to object to that, but that form is there to provide that transparency. In addition, we will also have the public links added after this meeting so that the parents, teachers, anybody in the community can go and look at the textbooks and their materials. And then the links to these meetings will be there as well. And then, so that is providing that transparency. All right. Let's see.
What are you trying to?
I'm trying to volume for my lap mat. So.
So what is your output?
Also designed to assist reviewers in
Like what's the output in your settings? Sound. And then go to output.
Is it this one?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So you wanna try it? And then he said to put this back on.
complying with the criteria for evaluating and recommending instructional materials for adoption as set forth in section 1006.31, parent 2. This training will provide a brief overview of the requirements for instructional reviewers. While not identical, there is some overlap between the
Sorry. Now we can't get the volume down.
materials. We will start this portion of the training with the areas where there is overlap and discuss the selection criteria specific to instructional materials later in this portion of the training. It's important to note that this training does not replace the requirement for state and school district instructional material reviewers found in section 1006.29, parent 5. State and school district instructional materials reviewers must also complete the department's training program for instructional material reviewers. All materials in public schools, whether found in a library, included on a reading list, or in instructional materials, must include consideration of the following factors. Meetings for the purpose of selecting instructional materials must be open to the public, including parents, and consultation with school community stakeholders, including parents, is required in the purchasing of new library materials. The age of students with access to the materials, the educational purpose, the degree to which the material will be supplemented by classroom instruction, consideration of the broad racial, ethnic, socioeconomic, and cultural diversity of students. In addition, all materials used in public school must be free of pornography and free of materials prohibited under section 847.012.
I am popular this morning.
Instructional materials reviewers should recommend only accurate, objective, balanced, non-inflammatory, and current materials. And unlike library materials, all instructional materials must be aligned with the state's academic standards.
Reviewers must also consider recommending instructional materials for academically talented students, such as students in advanced placement courses. Materials should be suited to the student's comprehension. The ability to comprehend material should consider the factors common to all materials and discussed in the prior slide. This includes the age of the students, educational purpose, the degree that teachers in the classroom will supplement the material, and the diversity of students who will use the material. Maturity level, reading level, and material clarity are also significant. Finally, instructional materials needs to be readable by presenting content at a level appropriate to student abilities. The pacing of the material must be at a rate that allows students to understand it, and materials must be easy to use and durable enough for multiple uses. The selection criteria for instructional materials includes not only what must be considered and included, but materials that must not be included. Instructional materials that reflect unfairly upon persons because of characteristics which include race, color, creed, national origin, ancestry, sex, religion, disability, socioeconomic status, and occupation should not be included. Instructional materials should not include unsolicited theories that may lead to student indoctrination. On the contrary, materials recommended by reviewers should accurately portray the ethnic, socioeconomic, cultural, religious, physical, and racial diversity of our society. Materials. From recommending materials that contradict the principles enumerated in section 1003.42 parent 3 Florida statute. This section includes an acknowledgement that all persons are equal before the law and lists 6 principles that instructional and supporting materials must be consistent with. Section 1003.42 parent 3 Florida statute reads: A. No person is inherently racist, sexist, or oppressive, whether consciously or unconsciously, solely by virtue of his or her race or sex. B. No race is inherently superior to another race. C. No person should be discriminated against or receive adverse treatment solely or partly on the basis of race, color, national origin, religion, disability, or sex. D. Meritocracy, or traits such as a hard work ethic, are not racist but fundamental to the right to pursue happiness and be rewarded for industry. E. A person, by virtue of his or her race or sex, does not bear responsibility for actions committed in the past by other members of the same race or sex. F. A person should not be instructed that he or she must feel guilt, anguish, or other forms of psychological distress for actions in which he or she played no part, committed in the past by other members of the same race or sex. Whenever appropriate, Section 1006.31, Parent 2, Florida Statute, requires that instructional materials include only materials that accurately portray humankind's place in ecological systems, including the necessity for the protection of the environment and conservation of natural resources, and the dangers of tobacco and controlled substances such as drugs. Instructional materials must also demonstrate humanity and compassion by including the portrayal of the appropriate care and treatment of people and animals, and excluding pornography and inhumane treatment. As mentioned earlier, instructional materials must be free of pornography and material prohibited under Section 847.012 Florida Statute. Section 1006.31, Parent 2, also directs evaluators of instructional materials to include materials that encourage fire prevention and thrift, which means using money and other resources wisely and not carelessly. 06.31, Parent 2, further directs instructional materials reviewers to ensure that when selecting materials for social science, history, or civics courses, that those instructional materials contain the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. The department's core questions rubric when evaluating instructional materials. In addition to the content rubric shown, other subjects include presentation, learning in Florida statutes, and State Board of Education rule. The full rubric may be found on the Florida Department of Education's instructional materials website.
It's okay. So if you take a look at the next slide, it does go into more instructional materials and the responsibilities as well. Robin's going to go over the rubric in just a moment, but on slide 40 it says parent feedback is important and parents should be involved in aspects of choosing materials. That was in addition to a state statute that a parent must serve on the committee of every textbook adoption, so we do have our parent volunteer for that. So we are in compliance. So, and then the stakeholders that we have to have a vetting process, which is part of y'all, and it has we put it out there so staff, community, everybody can take a look at it. And we have already adopted procedures to allow a parent or resident to object to the adoption, and so that's part of that 30-day window. In addition to the state policy as well that's on our district website. And then it discusses fair use and copyright guidelines. As media specialist, I was part of this training, so we put that little blurb in because we have to make sure that we're following the rules. I just wanted to say I found out being new in this position, this is my first adoption, so I apologize, I will get better, but Mr. Gort and Ms. Flanagan did it before. Being part of this, when I'm like, why do we, state adopted, the state already approved it. They only have a few people reviewing the textbooks at the state level. So that's why it's so important that we take a look at it for our district to make sure it suits our needs. So anyway. All right, let's go back. All right, so Ms. Dale went over this a little bit already, so just going to kind of, you are here because of your ability that your principal saw in you, or you were just the only one that said, hey, I'll do it. Okay, I was at Shalimar yesterday for Clear Touch training. I'm a nerd too, I would want to be part of this. Dr. Small, our new assistant superintendent of curriculum was in here. She also is I love to be part of this. I feel like you kind of get that edge to go ahead. So I appreciate you showing up and doing that. We will be using, we are not going to be using EdCredible. They are charging now. So I'm going to be creating a Microsoft form based upon your rubric that you'll be, so if you take your paper rubrics, you should just be able to click on the digital one once we get there. So just a reminder, sitting on the textbook committee, we are not allowed to accept gifts, monetary donations, no technology from the publishers. They cannot influence you in any way to purchase the materials because we are officially underway. Now, yesterday they could have done that. And then if they are in violation, we will have to remove that company from the adoption process. So just to keep that real. So. And of course, our purpose, as she said, is to pick the final two. We only have 3 that are on the state list, so the 2 will go before your school, and then we will take that vote to the school board, because they are the ones that ultimately will decide if that book is acceptable or not. So, but they do, I don't think they've ever not denied a book I'm aware of, so.
Are we in all this year, I know but previously we did like K2 could pick one and grade 5.
We are not doing that, yes,
Right,
yep,
just making-
yep. Well, but every teacher will get a vote at your school,
Right.
so, I mean, so in a way they do have that, but we're only gonna have one.
One adoption calendar.
Yes.
Correct, thank you.
And I think that's the easiest, in my opinion.
Okay, I just need to
Yep,
pass it.
yep,
Adoption,
yep.
Thank you.
So meetings, and our policies, it says we have to have at least 2, so this is one, and then our second one will be the one that we have on the 23rd. And if we have to meet again, which, those would be short ones. So that's just talking about, and you will get more, as we get closer to you submitting, well, not closer, but I will give that information when we get to the facilitation at your school. As I said, the publisher videos are available, or will be available, and then once we have the 2 narrowed down, then print materials will be sent to your school for everybody to take a look at those. So, and then you'll facilitate your school vote, and if you need help with that, just let me know, and I can ask for help to help you. Any questions on that part, on my part? So I will send this PowerPoint out for you when I do the notes, because I know that always, is a good reminder. And then I'll put everything kind of in a summary in an email as well. But if y'all are good with me, I'm going to let Miss Robin take over. So you don't need a PowerPoint, right, Robin? Okay. Okay. Okay.
Do not let fake technology. I do feel that I'm probably the reason. Those of you
No.
in my EL, I actually repel technology. There's something about me.
I think,
that
which one do you want first?
do the science of reading. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, just
Breathe.
it's a part of the outfit. Good morning. As Tasha spoke, and Miss Dale, I'm so excited that you guys are here. I'm very thankful that you guys are here. We're going to dig into the rubric in just a few minutes, and we're going to go through it. You guys will probably need highlighters, yes, and pens. We're going to do close reading and annotation in our ELA class. So go ahead and get that out. Okay. Oh, okay, okay. Okay, all right. Are we ready? Okay, all right. I've just been notified that we are close on time, so we're going to go ahead and kind of get started. We're going to do a close reading of the first rubric. You'll be passed out a second rubric in just a second, but this one is the Science of Reading rubric from DOE. This is what they use when they are selecting, one of the pieces that they use when they select the text, okay? So let's kind of go ahead and dig into this rubric, and then you'll be given another rubric in just a few minutes, and we'll go over that one, and that one's a beast, but it's good stuff, good stuff, good stuff. All right, you ready? So I'm going to read section 1, the gray box, and then I want you to read the indicators, and just like in PL, you're going to mark in bold words that speak to you, that describe that indicator. Does that make sense? All right, looking at the first one, research alignment. This program reflects current and confirmed research in reading and cognitive science. It's all about the science of reading. Go ahead and read indicators 1 through 4 and mark 1 or 2 words that speak to you and that define that indicator. Okay, looking at indicator number 1, what did you highlight? Evidence, that ESSA evidence level of 1, 2, 3, or 4. Indicator 2. Evidence of grounding in conceptual research, with reference to research articles and websites. Indicator 3, what was the big idea for 3? Yes, those 6 essential early literacy skills. So all those: oral language, phonological awareness, phonics, fluency, vocabulary, and comprehension. All right, looking at indicator number 4, what did you highlight? What spoke to you? Structured literacy. So we know, and we're reading depends on mapping sounds to print. So think about our central message PLs that we've had over the last couple of years. And I know that you've never heard of Scarborough's reading rope. You're like, no, we've only been talking about that. So we want to make sure that as we go forward, this whole section is really talking about that science of reading and those shifts to structured literacy. Okay? Fantastic.
Robert, before you
Yeah.
go on,
Okay.
on that structured literacy, I just want to make sure, does everyone understand what ESSA evidence is?
Oh,
Does anyone understand what that is? Okay, good. I didn't expect anyone to, that's why I was going to elaborate.
Oh,
So
sure.
the ESSA evidence is a rating system that determines, is this a strong piece of curriculum or resource to use? And over, it got strong results, and children made advances in progressing. Then it gets a high rating. But if it is a resource that teachers use it all the time, but we don't see the students progressing, it has a low rating. And so we only should be choosing materials and resources in our classrooms that have high ratings of a 3 or 4, moderate and up. So that's important to note for any program or even small group. There is an evidence rating on small group. So that is really important. We can't skip that, and you're able to find evidence ratings. And Tasha, I'll have that. I think it's actually, it might be on that slide, but give you that site for them to look at. Clearinghouse Works.
What Works Clearinghouse?
What Works Clearinghouse, so that you can take a look at that, and you may say, oh my gosh, we've been doing this over and over in our school. It doesn't have a high rating. Let's look at what does have a high rating. And the other part that I wanted to just point out, and I'm glad everyone responded with heavy nods on Scarborough's reading room as well. And Robin is referencing professional learning throughout the last few years. This is state of Florida, this rubric. This is what the state expects our school district to use to select and instruct. So, Okaloosa didn't make it up. This is required. And so when we see those 6 essential early literacy skills, that's what we're doing in our classrooms. And again, going back to those high evidence ratings that we need to look at. So keep that in mind as you are reviewing each of the materials.
Thank you. Fantastic. All right, as we're moving into section 2, it's about the 3 cueing. So we're thinking about admitting those 3 cueing. So this program reflects the mission of 3 cueing, which is an instructional approach to foundational skills instruction that involves the use of 3 different types of instructional cues: somatic, gaining meaning from context and sentence levels clues; syntactic or grammatical features; spelling patterns, elements in lieu of explicit instruction in phonic decoding and encoding. So you see there, it says the primary instructional strategy for teaching word recognition is phonics instruction for decoding and encoding. So you guys are shaking your head, going back again to that professional learning where we are switching from guessing, right, that 3 cueing, and we're moving into those phonics-based decoding strategies. Okay, so go ahead and take about a couple minutes and read those indicators, and we're going to highlight what speaks to you, the gist of that indicator. All right, we're going to go ahead and kind of come back again, like we are kind of shorter on time. So indicator number 1, what did you highlight? What spoke to you? Not. Bolded, right? 3 cueing systems are not taught as strategies for teaching word reading. Indicator number 2, what did you highlight? Guidance is not provided, right? Did anyone highlight the process called orthographic mapping? So it tells us what it shouldn't have, but it also clearly defines what it should look like based on the science of reading. Fantastic. Looking at indicator 3, yes, what did you highlight? I'm seeing a theme here. We're not doing it. Kind of see, we're not doing 3 cueing. To memorize whole words, so we are, thinking about those irregular, high frequency words as well. Moving on to indicator 4. Yes. Not taught as whole units, often standalone sight words to be memorized. So we're thinking about that shift from those word walls and going back to teaching those high frequency words in a way of mapping and the heart and teaching them to crack the code so they're able to go in and apply that knowledge. Fantastic. It's all about cracking the code with science of reading. Number 5, what did you highlight? Not, yes. The fluency assessment does not allow for those 3 cueing systems. Fantastic. All right, we've got 2 more on the back. Yes. 6, what did you highlight? Yes, students do not practice spelling by memorization. Indicator number 7. Not. Foundational skills assessments are not primarily running records. Okay?
What I want to say on
Yes.
that is, on this section, I thought immediately about school visits and learning walks that we do, and feedback that's provided. So we still see rainbow writing done. We're not doing rainbow writing. It clearly tells us here in our state science of reading rubric, it does not.
Because that's
not a
leading to
strategy that's going to work.
It's leading to memorization.
So-
That's not what we're doing.
When feedback comes, and I know it does, the district said, we're not doing this. This is why. It's not an opinion that we have.
It's science.
It is based on the science. of
Research.
reading. And so this is important that our teachers understand that, and we've provided professional learning for many years. But sometimes it takes a little while for that to sink in and understand what does that mean. So those of you that may have been told no word walls, this
is why.
No word
It's not
walls.
about us. It's about the science of reading and how kids learn, right? Making sure that we are hitting and giving every kid the opportunity to learn because they can. Exciting stuff. I love this stuff. I could just talk about this forever, and I'm not going to though. I'm gonna keep moving along. They're like, keep going. All right. Section 3. It's about explicit instruction. Something else that you've heard, our professional learning on explicit systematic, the Florida practice profiles. So go ahead and look at section 3, explicit instruction. Students are introduced to the new skill before they are asked to perform it. Okay. All right. I've had an energy drink, just letting you know. You can tell, you know me. It's the crazy woman with the energy drinks. All right, looking at indicator number 1, what did you highlight? Yes, explicit instructional routines and or scripts to help deliver that impactful, explicit instruction where we are giving them step-by-step how to master the benchmark. Looking at indicator 2, routines, okay, define or explain the new skills. Modeling, It's basically the definition of explicit instruction. We need to be looking for that in our textbooks. Indicator 3, immediate corrective feedback, multiple opportunities. I'm sure you've heard us talk about frequent opportunities to respond. So they're getting in the cage and they're swinging the bat multiple times to that explicit instruction and practice. And then also that corrective feedback. Man, that's starting to sound like PL, isn't it? Our professional learning that we've done here in Oklahoma County the last couple of years. All right, okay, moving into section 4 is talking about sequential instruction, the scope and sequence. Yep. There's a detailed scope and sequence, including a list of specific skills taught, a sequence for teaching the skills over the course of the year, and a timeline showing which skills are taught by week, by month, and by unit. Take a minute. Okay, all right, coming back. Indicator number 1, what were the words that gave you the gist of that indicator? Clear progression, yes, from easier to harder. Indicator number 2, advanced skills, or not introduced before students have been taught prerequisite skills. So it's all about that systematic instruction, right? Scope and sequence. Indicator number 3, articulates when the skills are taught across grades. Fantastic. Thank you, guys. Looking at section 5, we are again talking about systematic and cumulative instruction. The structured lesson format includes a plan, procedure, or routine that is carried through the sequence of teaching skills. Take a minute. Coming back, looking at indicator 1. What did you highlight? Clear and consistent lesson format. Fantastic. 2. Yes, daily schedule. I also, length of lesson and units, those suggestions on how to fit everything into your block, right? Am I right? Yep. All right. Indicator 3, what do we highlight? Whole group in. What? Small group. Yes. 4. Yes. Independent group. Yes. Practice occurs after teacher-led instruction on the skill. We're looking for those indicators when we dig into our curriculum. Indicator 5. Instructional routine. Step by step. Noting what teachers should say. Consistent language across lessons and grades, that vertical alignment piece. Fantastic. Looking at indicator 6. Again, teacher manuals includes directions for how to implement the lessons. Materials, skills, the wording, things like that will help teacher deliver that explicit systematic instruction. And then moving to the back, we have another indicator there. Benchmarks, spotlights, and what did you highlight there? So just to clarify, number 7, just for a second, because Okaloosa County, we do those things as well, but I think sometimes you hear us say the word priority. Yes, you heard priority benchmark. So when we're thinking about benchmark spotlights and supporting benchmarks are cumulatively reviewed. Okay, so that's not in isolation. All right, okay, looking at section 6, Coordinated components. Elements of the program are clearly linked. Take a minute. Go ahead. Yes. Yes, just pass this out. Okay. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and talk. Well, Vanna's and doing a great job passing out those things. All right, coming back to me over here, looking at section 6, what did you highlight in indicator number 1? Yes, I'm hearing same routines, terminology across skill areas and over time, right? So you hear that, you hear us talk about a lot about coherence of instruction and consistency. That's what this indicator really is all about, right? Or this section, if you will. Section 2. Yes, there's a clear link between foundational skills and higher order skills. So the gist of that is that phonemic awareness is linking into phonics, fluency is linking into comprehension. That is all linked together. That's what that indicator is talking about. All right, moving into the third one, indicator 3. Differentiating instructions for students who are yes. Yes, they are available. Fantastic. I love that. Available. Yes. And then also for students that need enrichment, right? Fantastic. Indicator number 4. That's a big one. What did you pull out of 4? Supporting English learners. Having difficulty, or students are having difficulty. Suggestions and materials are provided for varying student need. Fantastic. Teaching approaches are there. Pacing, instructional delivery options, suggestions for addressing common student difficulties to meet standards, reteaching strategies or suggestions for supporting text, suggestions for more advanced text for extension. Fantastic. All right, section 7, moving into related elements. The program contains features that are optimal for delivering effective instruction. Take a minute. All right, coming on back. Let's dig into section 7, shall we? What did you highlight for indicator number 1? Yes, they are going to give us screening, diagnostic, progress monitoring, and summative assessments. And then that little bullet there down there says framework for database decision making is present. Indicator number 2, when it's talking about environment, what did you highlight there? Classroom management to support small group instruction is included. Yes, there should be an element of motivation for students. So built-in choice, charts, graphs of progress, immediate feedback on progress is present. And then indicator 3, yes, professional learning. So what professional learning and coaching opportunities are available to support implementing the program with fidelity? Will that be discussed today in terms of with the vendors? They're going to talk about their PL and what they offer, right?
We'll probably mention it.
Okay. So again, just be thinking of those things, and as we have that, we're going to ask those questions. All right, fantastic. Okay, so again, as we talked about this, sorry, with my annotations and all my notes, you know I love this stuff. This is the Science of Reading rubric. Again, as Ms. Dale stated, this is by Florida DOE. This is what they're using when they're digging in. They have other tools as well. This is what they're using when they're digging in, selecting curriculum. Okay? But we want to go deeper than that, don't we? Ergo, the rubric. All right. Yeah, sure.
Someone had a question.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
I didn't see.
And I'm glad you asked. This tells me you are digging in and taking a deeper look. The ESSA evidence. So, just to clarify and to summarize, ESSA, E-S-S-A, stands for the Every Student Succeeds Act. That replaced No Child Left Behind. How many of you were teaching during No Child Left Behind? Okay, some of us were. So it replaced that. And in the Every Student Succeeds Act, the federal and state governments said, it came from high poverty schools, it started there, that we are going to ensure that we are including in our school and in our instruction strategies and programs to implement that have strong evidence. Tier 1 is the highest evidence of strong instruction, because what they were finding in high poverty schools, they were low performing. There was no reason they should be. Why? So this was a way to ensure that all students are receiving high quality instruction with those programs and strategies they're implementing in their classroom. And so it comes from school improvement. Every school can improve. So we are following in Florida that improvement cycle.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. So we are going to dig in to this rubric. This is a hefty one. Okay. But it's really going to allow us to dig in and really think about the curriculum that is going to best align and support the needs of students. That's why we're here, right? Okay, so we're going to do the same format. How much time do we have left? A little under 30 minutes. So we are going to kind of go through this quickly, but definitely if you have questions, I can stop and answer those, as well as after the presentations, we can also have some time this afternoon to dig in, and or we have questions, and or you can email me, okay? All right, so looking at indicator 1, oh, and I also want to say this, that obviously the reason why we went over that first rubric is you're going to see the science of reading and all those things in here. So we took that rubric, we had a committee of people, and they kind of took it and worded, so we were going just a little bit deeper, but you're going to see the science of reading and all those indicators that we just went over, it's going to be inside of this, okay? First thing you can notice too is that you have the ranking from 1 to 4. So partially met, adequately met, substantially met, or completely met. And that's how we're going to be able to distinguish which curriculum is right for Okaloosa County and right for our students. Okay? All right, so looking at number 1, the gray box. Go ahead and read that gray box, and then go ahead and look at those indicators and do the same format of highlighting those words that define that indicator. I think we have a couple on the back as well. Yes, yes. Did you give, everybody got 3?
We have 3 rubrics.
Yes.
And
It'll
you'll
be
use
sent.
these rubrics to transfer the information to the electronic digital rubric that Tasha will be.
So, yes, so this, you can mark it up. Yes, mark it up.
When you actually doing it for a program, up in the box, make sure you put the name of the program so you don't get confused.
Oh, yes, that would be helpful. Okay. All right, so take time and dig in. Good stuff. We do have one indicator on the back, little one. No, do you need to go over the back piece? All right. Love the text marking and annotations. All right, okay, just because we are, I don't mean to rush you, I'm so sorry, but we are kind of on a time crunch, so I'm going to kind of bring y'all back. As we're looking at, we're going to have to move kind of quickly through this, but again, if you have questions, let me know. Looking at indicator 1.1, what did you highlight there? What were the talking points? What's the gist of the first indicator? Yes, yes. That explicit phonological awareness instruction, moving, really this indicator is talking about those routines from phonological awareness, such as rhyming and blending and segmenting instruction, and it should move to that phoneme level as quickly as possible. So students learn to work with individual sounds and words. Okay? All right, moving to the second 1.1. Yes. Yes, include those explicit instructional routines to teach word analysis skills. That is what I kind of highlighted there as well, to decode words. 1.2. Those articulatory gestures. Do what?
We help our surge and speech services.
Yes, those articulatory gestures when we're thinking about moving again from that sound, those word walls to those sound walls, and what we are seeing in those classrooms. Fantastic. All right, moving into, where was I? Sorry, I looked down. 1.2. Yes, systematic lessons and activities. Yep, syllabication patterns and morphology to read and write unfamiliar single syllables. And what do we say? Multisyllabic words. So we're going in from that simple and we're going through and teaching our students how to decode those multisyllabic words, which are so important. All right, moving into the next one, 1.3. What did you highlight there? What's the gist? Phonics instruction that's explicit, systematic, and sequential. Built-in review. And did I hear someone say explicit fluency instruction? Is that what you said? Explicit fluency instruction. We understand how important fluency is. And routines to scaffold, give feedback. All good stuff, all good stuff. Moving into indicator 1.4. Yep, you got it. Yes, explicit instructional routines on how to decode and encode, that space practice, that spiraling, that application, right? Okay, moving into the second 1.4. So we have that self-monitor, we have that metacognitive work that we should be seeing, self-correct, and not guess. So what is that? Is the omission of 3? Yes, fantastic. You see how these rubrics bleed together? And the one that we're going to use is just going to go a little bit deeper, if you will. All right, moving on to 1.5. Yep. Yes, explicit instruction routines. Explicit to decode multisyllabic words. I'm looking over here. Decode multisyllabic words. Yep. Good stuff. 1.6. Okay, so what I have is I have ample practice. Yes. Do me a favor. I'm not trying to be bossy, but put frequent opportunities to respond.
I'm glad you said that, Robin, because I hope you're noticing patterns in this rubric, and when you keep seeing ample opportunities to practice,
Lots of practice.
That's the science of learning.
Yes.
So, over and over, we know when students have these opportunities to retrieve information they've learned and apply it, it's going to go to long-term memory instead of waiting long spaces.
Swing into that,
between
swing into
checking
that,
for
swing into that.
understanding. And so, due to time,
Okay, I know.
we have one presenter here. What we're going to ask is that you read through the rest of the indicators. No, you're going to read through the rest of the indicators. And at 9:27, we're going to be precise here. 9:27.
Sorry.
We want to hear from you on what was standing out to you. You see the repetition going from the I do to the you do to the practicing, the we do.
Yes. Sorry.
It's all what we're doing in Okaloosa, but we're going to confirm it for sure with what we select. So take the next 12 minutes to read through the indicators.
Good. I'm going to stop talking. Yes, all the rest of them. Yes. Thank you. I could go on and on for days about this stuff. Sorry. I know. Okay. Sorry. I get passionate about it. I'm sorry. Gotcha. Yes, yes, thank you for that. Yes, yes. So just kind of, correct. Correct, correct.
And this is the writing section, so that this is specifically not for the reading. This is very important. Yes. Oh, I thought you were putting this thing on my. All right, we have about 1 more minute. Okay. Okay. Coming back. All right, what stood out? I know that we are kind of on a time crunch, time-sensitive situation here, but what stood out to you as you read those indicators? You saw student engagement. Okay, awesome. I'm sorry? Gradual release. Meeting the standards, the benchmarks. That reminds me, this is just a reference. So as we are digging in, if you were wanting to look at the progression of those benchmarks, that's why we have that included in there. Poetry. Yes, balance and poetry throughout this scope and sequence is what I want you to think about too. That it's practice all the way through. Mm-hmm.
Lots of times it said multiple opportunities, ample opportunity. It wasn't just like taught and done.
Yes, yes. Multiple opportunities, frequent opportunities to respond, lots of practice, a lot of getting in the cage and practicing swinging that bat, right? Signs. I'm sorry? Progress monitoring. All right. Okay. You also see, just if you have kind of skimmed back now over to, we have 6.0 was targeted, I know, targeted assessment strategies. 7.0 was talking about the teacher guidance materials. I'm going to keep walking this way so you stay away from me. I'm like, no, not yet. Don't pull me. Charlie Chaplin, you're going to pull me off the stage here. And then 8 was the presentation of materials, the design of materials that enhance instruction and foster desired learning outcomes. We also see that in the indicators 8.5 and 8.6, you will see how we specifically look at the teacher manual that's provided in print and digital, making sure that we have those. And then 8.3, materials include a robust, user-friendly,
I say, oh yeah, yes. Materials include a robust, user-friendly digital platform that integrates and works on teacher and student devices that include digital text, video, assessment portal, data, and I'm done. Okay, thank you. Thank you for flying with Delta and her.
highlighted part, that is mandated questions that come from the state rubric. So those are yes or no, but those are verbiage, that is exactly what we got from the state that is required. There's nothing really required, but it is required. So you give us some flexibility to agree. So that comes from these other questions, those would be my area. I got Robin. And I didn't have the microphone on. Sorry, Paul. All right. Any questions before we release you and let the first publisher get set up? If you would like to hang out in here, you are more than welcome to do so. If you'd like to go to the lobby or take a break or a walk,